Maybe it's more of the role of council.
No, Sunday, I think I don't know, I'll check, I think our flight's like at 2:30.
This coming I go to Saskatchewan, that's more exciting. To a burial. Yeah, well, I'm not, because there's three of us.
Yeah.
As soon as I get home, I get the mail.
All right, call the regular meeting of council to order. I'd ask Councillor McMillan for the blessing and land acknowledgement.
As we gather, we recognize that we are on Treaty 3 lands which are steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations and Métis people today. We continue to be thankful for the partnerships with Indigenous people. We give thanks for the many blessings we enjoy in the city of Kenora. We seek wisdom in our minds, clearness in our thinking, truth in our speaking, always love in our hearts, so that we may try always to unite the citizens of Kenora. Let these principles guide us in our decision making.
Thank you, Councillor. This time I turn the floor over to Kyle, please.
I just wanted to welcome Ryan Marsh. It's Ryan's second day today, our new Director of Finance. Will be succeeding Charlotte Eady upon her retirement, and there'll be lots of time to say nice things about Charlotte at a later date, but just wanted to welcome Ryan aboard and introduce him formally to Council. No speech required, just happy you're here.
Not today. All right, public information notices. As required under Notice Bylaw 144-2007, the public is advised the Council's intention to adopt the following at today's meeting. Approve a budget amendment in the amount of $100,000 from the insurance deductible reserves to cover the deductible for the flood damage claims. Authorize a budget amendment in the amount of $225,000 plus HST to be funded through the contingency reserve for emergency costs related to the replacement of the Coney Island footbridge. This time I'd ask if any member of council wishes to declare pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof pertaining to any items as follows, either on today's agenda or from a previous meeting, or from a meeting in which a member was not in attendance. Seeing none, I'd ask for the reading of resolution number 1, please.
Resolution number 1, your worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Goss, that the following minutes of the Council of the City of Kenora be adopted as circulated. Regular Council, July 19, 2022.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Deputations, we have one today. Janet, I invite Janet Hyslop up to the podium. Janet, the microphone does not amplify, it just records.
That's okay. I don't need to be amplified, for sure. First of all, thank you. I'm excited to be before council. It's been a while to see people in a room. My request today is very brief. As you know, during COVID, times were very difficult for communities such as Kenora, for small businesses, organizations, and local sports groups and clubs. The city was an amazing support for our club, the Kenora Swimming Sharks, in a very difficult time when most of the province was not allowing access to recreational facilities, pools, etc. Kenora, the Kenora Recreation Centre, decided that rather than shutting the facility down here, that they would maintain the facility in order to be ready when COVID opened things up again. During that time, we had a local athlete, Gabe Mastro-Mateo, who was in the process of training for the 2020 Olympics. He was going back and forth to Toronto, suffering the same issues as most athletes across the country, trying to secure a facility where he could train. That was becoming more and more difficult in Toronto. He was traveling up to 45 minutes to 2 hours to get to a facility to train. In public transport during COVID times was a little bit high risk for him. The best decision for him was to move back to Kenora. He has been swimming with the club for his entire life and representing the Kenora Swimming Sharks for that entire period. And the decision was to come back to Kenora with the hopes that we would be able to either continue to train in our garage, which would have not been enough for an Olympian targeted or gold swimmer to do to be able to make the Olympics. And because the city decided to keep the facility running or open in the sense that they were providing the upkeep of the facility, maintenance staff was provided, I had approached Crystal Stokes and Josh Nelson, and Stace was part of that conversation as well, Stace Gander, to see whether or not we could allow Gabe to continue to train here in our hometown in order for him to reach that goal. The city made an amazing decision and allowed us to do that, which was fantastic, and I cannot thank the city enough for that opportunity. In that process, we, as a normal person who would pay for the facility, we were billed and invoiced for that time that was used, which was the understanding, no worries. My goal was to try to secure funding for that amount. So Ontario was able to produce about $500 for me, which was the amount that most facilities across the province were allotted. Gabe, being the only one here training, was the only one who would carry the costs here in Kenora. On top of that, the Kenora Swimming Sharks Club was really non-existent during COVID. We tried to maintain, no fundraising was going on, no revenue was coming in, and it was a very difficult time, so I was unable to ask the club for support for that invoice. My job here today is to ask the city to consider, prior to doing that, it was my goal to be here much earlier. Deputations at 12 o'clock during the teaching year were very difficult for me to come and make. And being away in July, this is the first opportunity that I've had to come forward. Councillor Rory McMillan suggested that this would be one of the best ways to have my voice heard and for the consideration to be put forward. My request for this deputation is to either help support, offset the costs, which are an individual cost for Gabriel and for myself and for my family of $2,444, or to waive that fee. We, of course, understand that the city has bills to pay and things to do, but at this time, it would be an amazing opportunity to not only celebrate a local athlete who persevered during such difficult times to make his goal of the 2020 Olympics, which was the 2021 Olympics. He did secure a spot on the team and became the first ever swim athlete in Northwestern Ontario, in Kenora, to be placed on the Olympic team alongside our other Olympians here in Kenora. So my request is that the city consider either waiving the fee of $24.44 or to consider a partial payment in order to help offset those costs for Gabriel and to allow him to continue doing what he's doing. So that's it. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have Heather a copy of this?
I have a copy of the invoice here. I did not. Okay, I didn't bring it. I can forward it. Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure.
If you could just
Yep.
forward the request
Yep.
to Heather, and then
Yep.
that's
Sure.
on record. All
Okay,
right?
I just wasn't sure of the process, so.
No, that's fine.
Perfect.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very
Jen.
much. Okay.
Okay, next we have additions to the agenda. Budget amendment, Coney Island footbridge replacement.
So there should be resolution number 2.
Yes.
Resolution number 2, your worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Smith, that approval be hereby given for the following additional item to be added to today's agenda: budget amendment, Coney Island footbridge replacement.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Here's the next resolution. So do you want to, we'll read the resolution. Stace, if you could just give us a summary of the report, and then we'll call the vote, or if there's any questions, right?
Shall I read the resolution?
Resolution number 3, or 2A, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, it's resolution number 2A, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Goss. That council hereby approves a budget amendment in the amount up to $225,000 plus HST to be funded through the contingency reserve for emergency costs related to the replacement of the Coney Island footbridge, and further that in accordance with notice bylaw number 144/2007, public notice is hereby given that council intends to amend its 2022 capital budget at its August 9th, 2022 meeting for this purpose, and further that council give 3 readings to a bylaw to amend the 2022 capital budget for this purpose.
Stace?
Yeah, thanks very much. So the report before you, council, is related to the $225,000 budget amendment. Council will recall that on May 7th, we had an extreme weather event. The lake was rising very quickly. The wind, we had a very high wind, and the force of that water on the one side of the bridge caused the bridge to release on the land side, and then the bridge was basically whipping around, and you can see the damages from the photos there. We engaged Stantec Engineering and some local contractors to go have a look. We asked them to do two things. Number one was to look at the cost related to repairing the structure, if it could be repaired. And then secondly, in the event that it could not be repaired, what would be a suitable alternative for replacement. Stantec has come back, and their recommendation is to replace the structure itself because of the several uncertainties related to a very high level estimate related to repair. While the current estimate is at $160,000, Stantec is continuing to do engineering. I've suggested in working with Kyle and Charlotte and Marco that we move that up to $225,000 because we've seen recently where we get expert opinions in terms of what they think that price is going to be, and it ends up coming in higher than what they would have thought. So recognizing that we're going into lame duck, we just wanted to make sure that we had suitable funds available to us. This is very, very time sensitive, as you can imagine. There's several steps that have to take place before we can actually procure that dock and then our footbridge, and get it in. So we are on a very tight time frame here, and this is so that we can proceed with the work.
Any questions, council? See none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is carried.
I just have a quick question, Your Worship, sorry. When would we typically install that? It's not really a question about the bridge itself, but like, is there any restrictions once things freeze up, or do we have some?
Well, there's going to be high current this year, so it would typically go in later November, I mean, the worst case scenario, if we were not able to get it in, we could always run it with an airboat, or there's other ways that we could go if weather becomes an issue, but we're hoping that we can do that before we'd have to incur those extra costs associated with that.
Makes sense.
Resolution number 3, please.
Your Worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Chase, that council hereby accepts the monthly financial statements of the Corporation of the City of Kenora at June 30th, 2022.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 4, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move resolution number 4 and is seconded by Councillor Poirier that council hereby approves Section 357 tax adjustments with potential refunds totaling $10,994.29.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution number 5, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Resolution number 5, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Chase, that council hereby approves an allocation of $100,000 from the insurance deductible reserve to cover the deductible for a flood damage claim, and further that in accordance with notice bylaw number 144-2007, public notice is hereby given that council intends to amend its 2022 operating budget at its August 9, 2022 meeting to withdraw funds from the insurance deductible reserve for this purpose, and further that council give 3 readings to a bylaw to amend the 2022 operating budget for this purpose.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution number 6, please.
Resolution number 6, Your Worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Goss, that the 2018-2022 term of council reviewed the existing boards and committees that form part of this term of council, and hereby support the Kenora Urban Recreational Trails Committee be excluded from the renewal process at end of term November 14, 2022. And further, that the terms of reference for this committee be repealed effective November 14, 2022. And further, that 3 readings be given to a bylaw for this purpose.
Councillor Smith, please.
Yeah. Just a couple of comments, Mayor, and as you know that I've been on the council rep for the Kenora Urban Trails Committee for many years, and I want to thank the committee and the members of the committee for all their hard work over the past few years. The work that was done previously, Rotary Trail, Mink Bay Trail, that work would not have got done without the work of the volunteers and their vision in the community. Staff have now taken over most of the maintenance work that the Trails Committee used to do, and it is appropriate now that it rests in the hands of recreational staff. But I want to reiterate again that our strategic plan, 2022 to 27, talks about establishing new trails and the importance of trails. And I know that our recreation director has said that when the Parks and Recreation Plan, the new plan comes in, they will try and address that. So that would be my expectation, that there is some reference to trails, trail work, and visioning for new trails, and not to lose sight of that, because if anything proved the value of trails in our community was COVID and lockdown and all the people that were out on those trails outside using them. So I don't want us to lose sight of that. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Councillor Smith, I think it's safe to say, as long as you breathe, we'll never lose sight of the trails.
Thanks.
Resolution number 7, please.
Resolution number 7, your worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Smith, that council hereby receives the Engineering and Infrastructure Department's quarterly and operational updates ending June 2022.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Resolution number 8.
Resolution number 8, your worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Van Wellingham, that council hereby receives the Community Services Division second quarter report for 2022 as presented.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution number 9.
Your worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Poirier, the council hereby receives the 5-year Tourism and Economic Development Strategy Plan update as presented. And your worship, just a short comment, appreciated the thoroughness with the reports that we received last week at Committee of the Whole, and provided a very positive overview of where we're headed. So I appreciated that.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution number 10.
Thank you, your worship. I move resolution number 10, and it's seconded by Councillor Poirier, that council hereby appoints Ryan Marsh to the position of Deputy Treasurer for the City of Kenora.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Congratulations, Ryan. Your second day, you got your name in the minutes twice.
He's not done yet.
You don't even have to stand up. Resolution number 11, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Chase. Whereas the municipality of the City of Kenora recently experienced a flood event commencing on May 4th, 2022, which remains ongoing and has experienced incremental operating capital costs, the Council of the Corporation of the City of Kenora hereby requests that the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to activate the Municipal Disaster Recovery Assistance Program, and further that Ryan Marsh, Director of Finance, is hereby given delegated authority to verify and attest to the accuracy of the claim on behalf of the Corporation of the City of Kenora.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution number 12.
Resolution number 12, your worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Smith, that council hereby repeal zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw number 34, 2021, and further that council gives 3 readings to a bylaw for this purpose.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 13.
Resolution number 13, your worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Van Wellingham, that 3 readings be given to a vacancy rebate program bylaw as per resolution number 7 of the December 21, 2021 council meeting.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution number 14.
Resolution number 14, your worship, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Goss, that the mayor and clerk be hereby authorized to execute the following agreements on behalf of the Corporation of the City of Kenora. Site Plan Control Agreement, CP Rail and Two Bears Marina. NOHFC Funding Agreement, Lake of the Woods Museum. ISIP Funding Agreement, Water Main Replacements. That 3 readings be given to bylaws for their purposes.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution number 15.
Your worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Poirier. The council hereby adopts the following minutes from various City of Kenora committees. March 24th, 2022 and May 5th, 2022, the Muse. June 22nd, 2022, Kenora Public Library Board minutes. And the council hereby receives the following minutes from other various committees. May 5th and 26th, 2022, District of Kenora Home for the Aged. May 24th, 2022, Police Services Board, and further, that these minutes be circulated and ordered filed.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Resolution number 16, please.
Thank you, your worship. I move resolution number 16, and it's seconded by Councillor Poirier, that the following bylaw be now read a first and second time and approved in its present form and presented for third and final reading. Number 112-2022, confirmatory. Number 113-2022, budget amendment insurance deductible reserve. Number 114-2022, deputy treasurer appointment. Number 115-2022, repeal of zoning bylaw number 34-2021, Central Park. Number 116-2022, vacancy rebate bylaw. Number 117-2022, site plan control agreement for CP Rail Two Bears Marina. Number 118-2022, NLHFC funding agreement for the Lake of the Woods Museum. Number 119-2022, ICIP funding agreement for the water main replacements. And number 120-2022, repeal of number 73-2019, Kenora Urban Recreation Trails Committee.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Notices of motion, we have none. Proclamations, we have none. Announcements, we'll go around the table, starting with Councillor Smith, please.
Nothing today, Mayor. Thank you.
Councillor McMillan, please.
Just one, your worship, I had attended KBI this weekend, and I believe they were only 5 teams short of their maximum. And it was really good to see people out on the harbor front, and the number of people that were coming and going, accessing the MS Kenora, and the food vendors, and it was really positive to see, and it was a cool day, but a good day, and it was generating some excitement back in the community. So very positive.
Thank you. Councillor Goss, please.
I have nothing today.
Councillor Chase.
Thank you, your worship. Further to Councillor McMillan's comments, just want to thank the volunteers and the local sponsors and everybody involved in organizing both KBI and Harborfest. It's really nice to see both of those events back here this summer and the reactivation of our harbor front. So thanks to everybody involved in making those 2 events happen, and I look forward to seeing those events take place next year and for many years ahead.
Thank you. Councillor Van Willingham.
Nothing today, thanks.
And Councillor Poirier.
Nothing, your worship. Thank you.
All right, ask for the reading of resolution number
17.
17.
Thank you, your worship. Resolution number 17, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Chase, that pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act, as amended, authorization is hereby given for council to move into a closed session at 12:23 p.m. to discuss items pertaining to the following: education and training, members of council 3 matters, labor relations 1 matter.
All in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.